thousands of surgical instruments available for performing different procedures in the medical field. Before these instruments make it to the hospital or the surgical field, it has to go through the FDA for approval. The FDA approves medical instruments that are used in the various surgical fields and different specialties. Someone asked me to talk about instrument validation and instrument verification. When a medical device is designed or proposed for use, they have to go through the FDA that will tell the company manufacturing the instrument to go through the 510K or the pre-market approval process. Under the 510K testing or pre-market approval phase, instrument manufacturers are required to test their instruments in independent labs. These labs will go through testing these instruments. All of those testing will be used by the end user after the instruments have been manufactured. Those tests will be done in an independent lab, and those labs will carry out processes called validation. In a validation process of any medical instrument, an independent lab will inoculate a medical device with microorganisms that might be pathogenic to the human body or that might be available or cause harm to human. The instrument will be inoculated and will be sterilized 3 separate times at half cycles. What do I mean by half cycles? For example, if the manufacturer is trying to sterilize this instrument for 4 minutes at a temperature of 270 degrees Fahrenheit, the sterilization process for 2 minutes, half the time, for 3 consecutive times, while the instrument is inoculated with microorganisms. It means that the instrument will be dirty for them to sterilize it, but they should sterilize it at half the time that will be recommended for use by the end user. The manufacturer tests this device, which is a Mayo Hager needle holder, and at the independent lab, this was soiled up with microorganisms and sterilized at 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 minutes for 3 consecutive times. After the sterilization, the instruments will be tested for the presence of microbes. If there is no microorganism on here, the same process used to sterilize the instrument, the packaging method used to sterilize this instrument, will now be recommended to the end user who purchased this medical device. When they send this instrument to your facility, there will be written instructions on how to go about sterilizing this instrument, double the time that was used in testing at an independent lab. If the manufacturer tested this instrument at 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 minutes in their lab, they will recommend that you test this instrument at 4 minutes exposure at 270 degrees Fahrenheit, but while the instrument is clean. Remember when they were testing this instrument in the lab, they had to inoculate them with microorganisms to have them dirty, and they will use the same packaging method to send you to use. What is done by the manufacturer in the lab to test these instruments at half cycle for 3 consecutive times to make sure that all microbial life form on here is dead is the validation cycles. What this means in short is that manufacturers will validate medical devices, send the information onto end users at hospitals, dental offices, ambulatory care centers to verify the validation process that was carried out in an independent lab. When your manufacturer sends you instruments, they have validated the parameters they sent you to be verified by your facilities. That's the difference between the validation process, which is carried out by manufacturers, and the verification process is carried out by the end user. We are only following what was done in the lab to make sure that microbes on this instrument were killed using the same packaging method, the same sterilization cycle, but at double the time of the sterilization. Hopefully that helps break down the validation process and verification process of medical devices as they go through the 510 or pre-market approval phases for medical instrumentation.